Hello, good morning. It's the Student StarCraft AI tournament again with its weekly broadcast, and well, I was sent a couple of replays, not too many, but this one's bound to be good. It's a Crazier Terran versus Crazier Protoss, and I haven't seen Crazier Terran play for ages, or at least since the 20th of December, when it got disabled and we had to. Crazier Protoss went on to play the tournament finals, which was pretty good. So, yeah, that. And I thought to myself, well, why not? And Crazier sent me this replay. And I thought, well, perhaps it should be, we should have both Crazios on the ladder. We've got multiple bots with, or authors with multiple bots on the ladder, so that wouldn't be too much of a problem. We've got, of course, Chimera bot, which does, I don't know what it does, Killerbot, McGraves, and some kind of Terran. I don't know exactly what it is about, but it's a lot of copies. We've got TSMU, we've got 3 random bots split into 3. That's the MadNiks, and that's the... I was going to talk about that. Recent updates, we've got Nanobrain, Halpan, TSMU, got a lot of those. Legacy updated, we'll show you that. Egbert still working hard. Oh, and MadNiks, of course, is the one. And the other one is the Prism and Pineapple Cactus thing, which is split across 3 races. And the ELO right now looks like this. Cutedus at number 1 with a very solid margin. That's 2,635, that's quite a lot. And then of course there is Seder, and then it's Purple Wave, but that's 150 points between the number 1 and the number 3. And then there's Ironbot, and that's basically more than 200 points down. And then we go to almost 300 points down for the number 5, and that's Crazier Protoss. So this dominance is really insane by Cutedus, and Cutedus is dominating the rest, dominating Seder. Seder is then dominating all the rest of the pack, and Purple Wave then takes almost a 60 point... Oh, damn it. Don't keep resetting. And you see that only here at the number 10, that is about right here. That's almost 400 points, so ELO wise that's quite crazy. And talking about crazy, Crazio has got this tank ready and is going to bust the cannon rush thing. Will that be a command center? No, that's just another barracks. And with 2 tanks, oh, 1 shot at the barracks. With 2 tanks, Crazio sort of beats this, and I think after this we'll get the Dark Templar follow-up. We'll have that. Will we have a turret? Yeah, we've got one. So it should be pretty hard for a Templar to break in here. Then again, a Dark Templar. Oh, and there it is. Might. So there is no comsat yet, so that's going to be a bit of an issue, but it doesn't really dare invade at this moment. Crazier instead going for a 3rd, and that is not as balls to the wall as earlier. It's taken a little bit of a... Oh, here we go. 3 DTs, and they are going in for the kill, and here comes the turret, and so they'll get blasted. And they'll stay just outside of range, or just inside of range and die. But Crazio seems to be going for a bit of a heavier macro play. That's good. Oh, and the Vulture is among the probes. You can see Crazier Protoss army is tiny. And if you ask yourself, how does this Vulture know there is a DT after it? It can sort of... Oh, yes, there goes the scan, but it's a bit wasted. As an opposing player, you can see DTs, you cannot target them. So a human player would see the blur, and AIs just see everything all the time. So, yeah, that's... that is... They've got this omnipresent presence of mind, so they know exactly what is happening, and there you see the advantage these AIs have over a human player. It's not just that they've got ludicrous APMs, which they can maintain for hours at it, or just forever, as long as the CPU doesn't walk out or they get disqualified for causing lag. And these tanks, they should... let's look at Protoss, that's much more quiet. So we can talk a bit. 4th base for Crazier Protoss, that's really well done, and now Terran appears to be going for a 3rd base of its own. Army supply for Protoss is increasing, but not very fast, and it seems we're going to have a bit of carrying. But these AI players, they have constant active vision of all they see. And that is a little bit unfair, but as this is an AI versus AI competition, and that's playing Minesweeper the wrong way. You'll never get an army supply up that way. And you can see Crazier Terran, although it's sieging, unsieging at an alarming rate, is sort of getting a nice army together, and that will be, of course, a problem for the Protoss. But now with 4 bases, and should build some production over here as well. Lots of cannons though, so this is basically a simp play. A little bit watered down and with a bit of ground support. Now one carrier is going to go after the expansion, while a couple of DTs are in among here, and oh, the energy is out. So Terran will suffer some losses. Oh, and that was two SCVs dead. And now here comes the first Goliath, and I'm bound to think that there are going to be more. But with only 2 bases, that third base isn't really up and running yet. And that's an interesting place for a factory. Now we've got 2 carriers right among the pigeons. And Crazier just going to build more and more units. You can see the unit count increasing with 75 workers and a 5th base. So Crazier Protoss really going for the macro route. And you can see that Crazier is really actively working on his Protoss, and that's good. We've got a lot of carriers all out on the map. And now, yes, the Terran's army is mainly ground-based. There is a handful of Goliaths. I'd say about 10 right now, but that's not really a lot. Yeah, that's a way to do it. Nexus is a little bit off, but hey, what do you know? Meanwhile, we've got 4 carriers camping the entrance to the natural, and this base is completely untouched. So, decision-making wise, I'd say that Crazier Protoss is a little bit old-fashioned in that it wants to breed the natural choke. While the return on taking out this base, you could do that with 5 goons or something, and that base, which you can do with a couple of zealots in a drop, or perhaps the carrier fleet. Oh, and there they go. No, there they don't go. Now they'll find the base and see if they will kill it. The carrier fleet is splitting up somewhat, and the Terran Death Ball is growing. It's 114 army supply, 112 now, but basically you get the gist. And the prioritizing of the carriers could be a little bit better, but Crazier Terran is not really in a good position. That's a lot of carriers though, and that will pose a little bit of a threat to the carrier army, especially since there aren't really that many ground units to back it up. So let's keep an eye on this. It's 130 versus about 100, and now the carriers are going in for the kills. Slowly they should, yes, prioritize the command center and then leave it alone. I don't know if that's a good decision. There is a carrier overhead here as well, and I think that is going to be detrimental to... Oh, more carriers coming. So, Crazier Protoss is, for all intents and purposes, maxed. Is it building anything? Yes, a lot of interceptors and cannons. So, Protoss is really rocking the boat, but there is a huge Terran army, and it really can't make up its mind where it wants to go. And if Terran loses this base, there is basically no more income, because the main is sort of mined out. Natural's in tatters, the third, oh, not in tatters, but it's getting low. Third has just been decommissioned by the carrier fleet, and another bit of the carrier fleet has done the same to the fourth. And yes, nice targeting of the carrier hull, but now you can see that Terran is sort of struggling to get its army back, and of course it's making a lot of Goliaths. There is a Goliath expeditionary force over here. Of course, as all the carriers are out on the map, there is nothing there to stop them. That is going to be another... Oh, but here come the carriers again. So, oh, Crazier just restarted a third base with the main out, and that is... How many carriers are there? We've got pure carrier, that's 19 carriers, and 74 probes who are going to take on the combined might of 40, 38 Goliaths. That's quite a lot. Might do well with a couple of arbiters, like that. We are getting more and more carriers, that's insane. It really is insane, 21 carriers, that's quite a lot, and now they're just going to push the issue. One died. I think more carriers are going to be built. Oh, and a goon as well, so that is okay. Crazier does find this base over here, and now perhaps it should do something about that. Meanwhile, taking a lot more bases, and as a Protoss with a couple of cannons, you can, and pylons of course, for extra hit points, you can really protect your bases quite cost efficiently. You can see these Goliaths, they do try and attack the cannons, but their heart isn't really in it, as they say, in as far as Goliaths do have a heart. And Crazier Protoss, okay, you could have built it right at the comsat. That would have been a nice touch, but Crazier is going to retake the base, and you can see, although the army is dwindling a little bit, Crazier has established his base over here. Main is out, Natural is out, so the income isn't there, but with 2 new bases, Crazier has got another leash on life in this game. The carriers, though, are doing a lot of damage, and although some are taken out, you can see with these upgrades they've got the +3, +2 air armor, +3 shield is building. That is a lot of hit points in these carriers, and they are just not as determined as oh, now they're just going. I should just never say anything, just say what's happening and not really try and guess what these carriers are thinking, because God knows. And Crazier is just pressing the issue here, going for the natural choke, this time foregoing the destruction, and it's just spending its carriers for some reason. Lots of carriers are dying. What's it building? It's building a lot more carriers. So lots of carriers, and of course the complementary interceptors. Crazier Protoss has got a lot of money, and the Terran is just on its last legs, on the high ground with a handful of Goliaths, but I don't think it's going to be really enough. These 2 bases are now up and running, but without an army and without any kind of defenses, I think that Terran's game has just about ended. And now some ground forces are being ferried in as well. So you can see with all these carriers overhead, Terran just hasn't got the resources or the infrastructure to outproduce Protoss at this point. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4... Oh, we've got only 4 Stargates, and Crazier's still building pylons for some reason. That is a hell of a lot of pylons. And it's a pity that the and 2 starports here as well. That's good. I wonder why so many pylons are necessary, but I think I'll be justified in calling the GG, as I don't see Crazier Terran giving this away. And we're going into another... Oh, and it's a PVT, so perhaps I've been sent 2 replays of Terran. And I also asked Crazier, well, when is the Terran bot going to come back online on the ladder? And Purple Wave, of course, took the 2018 finals by storm. Very impressive, and let's see if Crazier Terran can do anything with that. Because Crazier Terran used to be or before the 2018 finals, used to be the #1 bot, right before Seder, and Seder didn't really push a lot of upgrades, so other bots learned to counter it, or got hard-coded to counter it, or got build orders to counter it, should be more precise. And Purple Wave really is the master of build orders and is going for a DT, and I think that Crazier just saw that coming and now has got a bunker and a turret and a tank. So although it's starting out with 1 base, and that is very clever. This tank is in a precarious position though, so I don't know what that's about, but Crazier stopped this Dark Templar thing right in its tracks. And it's a bit of an uneasy standoff, but for the time being I don't think that either of these players is going to risk their units to get to grips with the enemy. Purple Wave though appears to be going for very, very, very quick Arbiters. Or carriers. No, that's an Arbiter Tribunal, so perhaps quick carriers in a funny recall sort of thing. Meanwhile, Crazier being a little bit slow with the natural, has got the money, should really do it rather sooner than later. And although Purple Wave really hasn't got the army, it will have an impressive amount of technology and a 3rd base in a hidden location. That's cleverly done. And I'm waiting, if you see these probe transfers over ages, so if you see a probe being transferred, you've got to somehow make your bot suspect that there is going to be a hidden expansion somewhere. And then again, it's the hidden expansion. Oh, that Arbiter just flew into range, or I think, of that dying eBay. Let's see what upgrades it's got. It's got stasis, no recall, and it's going straight for the main. It's going to attack. some units, or buildings rather. And Crazier has got the natural secured, but Purple Wave's out on the map with a lot of technology, and well, the army has just about equaled, so I think that this Arbiter is doing very well for itself. That's playing Minesweeper the hard way. Could build... Oh yes, that's very cleverly done, but doesn't really make a lot of sense if you are not going to push that instant. Any more Crazy upgrades coming? No, not really. Crazier is sort of extending its minefield towards the third, which will have an additional gas on this map. This mineral only is a little bit harder to take, so for the map it is really it's favoring mech players, Protoss players, which need a lot of gas, and the Zerg are a little bit harder out mineral-wise. I won't talk too much about the map because I don't know too much about it. But Purple Wave is going to go for a standoff versus a lot of siege tanks, and of course there are mines in Crazier. I can't really bear to listen to this army siege on siege all the time. That's very hard. Meanwhile, we've got a Vulture on the probe lines, and it's doing quite a decent job of harassing. And it might even be worth the trouble. Oh, and rolling straight into the main, but now it's going to get cornered and killed. Might even be worth it to just build a couple of pylons just to prevent that kind of run by, and bots really aren't as determined to clean up. Here you see the storm's wasted and damage to a Dark Templar. That's just not worth it, and these goons could do a little bit better job of zoning that out. Meanwhile, Protoss is going for a weird concave now with 2 Arbiters, lots of cloak. Scanner equipment is not adequate at this point. The third base will be up, and now there will be Goliath, so the carrier thing will be a little bit less threatening to the Terran. And you can see the Terran has got a large army up and running, and it will, I think, need more than a little bit of build order trickery for Purple Wave to deal with a monster Terran like Crazier, because Crazier is a little bit more complete than is Seder. Seder's relatively young, doesn't know how to deal with all kinds of abuse and cheese. But then again, that is a large army. Large army. Purple Wave is maxed. The unit composition is pretty wacky though versus the Terran. We've got 35 Zealots, 8 Goons, 2 Templar and 4 Arbiters. And I don't really know, is Crazier appears to be rushing a full line tank defense. Nice stasis, but it's going to function as a wall. Luckily it's not tight, but you can see Crazier doing away with 70 army supply, and that's not even counting the production tab. So that attack just was absorbed by all the tanks, and Crazier is going to push for a 4th. And meanwhile, lots of production being added over here. Let's see if Purple Wave will also have the deviousness needed to deal with a large mech Terran like Crazier. And you can see now with 2 Science Vessels, and the composition by Crazier is a bit better, I think. 16 tanks, 2 Goliaths, might be a bit more on the Goliaths, but I'm sure more are going to be built. No, just tanks and vultures. And you can see that this Protoss has got a lot of workers, which will ultimately reduce its maximum army size. The Arbiters, though, are being a large pain in the ass for Crazier. There are 7. The danger, of course, is that if a couple of Wraiths and Goliaths pop up, it's going to be hard for the carriers to hold their weight. They do take a 4 supply, so if you've got 7, that's almost 30 army supply, and of course they've got a lot of stasis in them. And Crazier really ought to build more turrets and Goliaths to counter them, because now most of its army is just stasis over here, although there is a sort of, oh sorry, missed that, contain up at the natural, and Purple Wave is doing its best to thwart that. With Arbiters overhead, there is a lot of stasis capability, and Crazier ought, like Iron, to build a couple of turrets. That would be excellent, and with the cloak and the carriers, although a lot of probes are dying, that's not the worst concern for Purple Wave at this point, as the natural's still out of money. But Crazier is going to reinforce the push, and I don't think that Protoss is producing a lot of units. Production tab is colossal. But it's now got 9 Arbiters and it's making more, so perhaps that could be capped in this build order. As with 9 Arbiters, you've got already 36 supply worth of carriers, which, although clever and can do stasis and cloak units, do not add a whole lot to your damage output. And Crazier might be better off with a handful of Goliaths, or at least turrets, because these Arbiters, they are just going to be able to do damage enough to these tanks to be a problem eventually, especially as the other half of the tanks is permanently stasis. And the Vultures, they do feel the sting of the carrier buzz. Oh, the science vessel it appears to take a lot of damage from these Arbiters. Oh, and the dropship, where's the dropship going? The dropship is untouched. And these Arbiters really have to fight at this point, because there are 11 now, and still more are coming, and wow, look at that. So many gateways being added, and Protoss just hasn't got the money to produce anymore, and there are so many gateways. That's really wacky. But Crazier has got a great army. Is sort of shutting down the harass, but the turrets are only at the expansions, and they could be well used to support a push like this. And Purple Wave is maxed too, so this PVT is really out of control, and Crazier, just with no adequate vessel cover and anti-air, can't really stop the Arbiters from doing their thing. And now we get a full round of Templar, and we've got 12 Arbiters. That's enough. That's almost 50 army supply worth of Arbiters, and although they are pretty cute, and Crazier, half Crazier's army is now stasis. Look at that. That's insane. In a TVZ, if you had that many science vessels, it would work wonders. But it's really, oh, now we've got a turret out on the field somewhere. So that's all that must belong to this expansion. So Crazier now about to take this base, and there will be turrets, so it will have a bridgehead to attack this production facility over here, because it's not really more at this point. Vultures all over it, and Purple Wave is sort of feeling the pressure. There aren't cannons at all the bases, and although a goon appears to be coming in, it got reassigned, and a lot of probes are dying. This base is mining out, and Crazier is just covering the map in red, and has now succeeded in taking out the natural. Oh, we've got a thingy, an irradiated Zealot, and here come the Templar. So let's look at the Templar, let's see what they're going to do. But so many probes are falling, and this goon sometimes is sent to go after it, and sometimes is called back. So Crazier just right on top with the harass, and this Vulture is killing so many probes, and the goon is finally, you can see it's not really dedicated to killing that Vulture. And right now Crazier is rolling. He's got 75 workers, he's got a large army, he's building a lot of tanks. Oh, and a ghost as well. Hello, will we see nukes perhaps? Might, would be nice. Nice touch. And now a lot of turrets. So only after the army supply is max, Crazier will start building a lot of turrets, it seems. But might also easily build some turrets with the army just for some air control. And Purple Wave is stuck with 9 Arbiters and 11 Goons, and versus 16 tanks, and you can see all the rest. It's not really going to work all that well. And now there is even a Goliath. That took a while to chase the Arbiters, and now a lot of turrets are being built. So Crazier in the saddle, and Purple Wave mining out, and although it's producing a lot of units still, it's very hard, and Crazier just taking all the bases for good measure. I don't really know why, but there are a lot of turrets, so that will grant vision. And yeah, there you go. Still lots of stasis going off, but that's really insane number of stasis in this game. Should be accounted for that if TSMU and M42 ever get back to work on this OpenBW replay viewer. That would be a nice thing to have. It doesn't really have high quality, but it would be nice to count how many stasis have been cast in a single game. And yeah, well, don't really know what's up with this. Oh, and we get a battle cruiser and still more turrets. So turrets all over the place, and this is what Crazier could have done a little bit earlier, and it wouldn't have suffered so much from the carriers. Bunker, command center, and upgrades. Just build me everything. We are going to see air upgrades and all. I think that's all the technology. Oh, that's restoration for the medics. Not too many ghost upgrades. Have we got ghosts? Yes, we've got 3. Have we got a silo? No, we might make a silo. Crazier is so hesitant in going for nukes. It used to say doesn't really need it, and that's true enough, I guess. But right now the map is It's like watching a huge anthill. 129 army supply and still more turrets are coming. And yeah, purple wave. Okay, that's enough. That's the GG. And we are going to go into some of these updates. And did I... Yes. I got an upgrade of Legacy versus Chimera. And Legacy is a random bot, so that's very hard to get going. But I thought, well, why not pit it against Chimera bot? And I need to look that up because I keep forgetting that. Chimera is SSCAIT, Iron and McGraves, so Zerg, Protoss and Terran all in one. And Zerg, yes, it is now playing Protoss, so that's basically McGrave versus Legacy. And that will be hard to stop. Legacy going for a lot of Marines out of 2 barracks. Going to be a third. And I think that Chimera will have a number of Zealots out soon, so that might not be the biggest problem. But if these Marines get to be sufficient in number, it might be difficult for a gateway Protoss of 1 base to really micro out of that. And let's see, that's quite a number of Marines already. There is a goon, and the Zealots are fighting, but the Marines, they just don't care, they just keep going. And once more into the breach, my friend. They're going to go after these goons. And now with 2 goons, the Marines lose heart. And 2 goons can do quite well versus Marines. So with 3 goons, that's too much. And let's see if Legacy has got any kind of a backup plan. Backup plan so far consists of... Oh, gas. That's good. And that's still a lot of Marines. And I think that McGrave... Oh, Chimera... The bots themselves aren't really altered, so although I think it's a clever plan to try and outfox the enemy by countering build orders with just different races, that might work, but you need pretty sophisticated build order counter logic for that. And now we've got just too many goons, and I'm sure they've got range. No +1 yet. I don't really know if that's a thing in Protoss versus Terran, if the Terran is going full bio. Will we have an academy though? Yes, we'll have. No expansion yet for a Legacy, so unless Legacy's Marines are suddenly going to fight a glorious fight, and with a couple of goons on the high ground in this choke, that might seem like a bit of a stretch. A couple of Marines might do wonders here. Stim is ready. And will we have medics? No, we won't have medics. We'll just have Stim and no medics. We've got 45 Marines, 1 base. And it's just to be hoped that Protoss will not make a Templar Archive. But I've got this nasty suspicion that this building is going to be a Templar Archive. So, yeah, with 2 versus 1 base, nice high ground, and just pure Marines. Oh, they're going to Stim in. And that is so painful. No medics still. Oh, that is a Templar Archive. That's the Templar Archive done right there. And either DTs or High Templar are going to... Oh, that's Storm prepping. Are going to wreak havoc with this pure Marine army. And meanwhile, Legacy just going for depots, Marines. 50k APM. And 60 Marines stimming all at once. That's insane. See how damaged they are. They just can't... Oh, we've got Templar now, and Storm's done. They've got energy for about 1 Storm each. This is going to be bloody, and McGrave is just going to not care and do its job. And I don't think that these High Templar will ever get to grips with the enemy, because it's running so fast. And also it's dying a lot, because they've been stimmed half to death, if not more than half. And the Zealots are just playing tag with lethal results. And 3rd base for McGrave, that's pretty good. As you can see, this is a countdown rhyme. There is a 31 army supply, there is no bunker, there is nothing on the high ground, no follow-up tech. And oh, another stim going off, that's good, they sort of fight, but the occasional unit gets lost for Protoss, and that's about it. And finally the Dark Templars arrive at the scene of the crime. Oh yes, and then it killed a couple, but then it's 80 of us, 2 army supply. Legacy, well played, but a little bit of work to do, because just building Marines is going to be slightly problematic versus, well, in this day and age. So, MadNiks Zerg has been updated, and while I always like a good Zerg versus Terran, I thought, well, why not take old Cerenclad and the bot called Whopper, of course, and let's see what MadNiks is going to do. Going for a colony and a pool, and a rather late natural. Here we go, and Whopper is going for a handful of Marines in a bunker, just playing it safe, and the Overlord isn't really pursued all that tenaciously, and it flies away, or slowly drifts away more like. Worker count for MadNiks is pretty low, third rather late, and you can see this lot of Sunkens is not really worth it, because there is no threat, and that is 4 drones and a hell of a lot of money. And if the enemy is going to come in, it can kill, or it could have killed, the natural with just a couple of Marines. But then again, Whopper going for the expansion. Oh, and the vultures are going out now after the lings. And you can see lings without speed don't do awfully well against vultures. And that's just waiting for the vulture speed. And you can see this army supply of MadNiks is suffering a little bit. No third yet. Worker count still rather low. What's it building? It's building technology, drones, lings. It doesn't really have a good build order, and that is sort of necessary in this day and age. You can see these lings, they just should keep the hell away and not be replenished, because these vultures, they hardly ever get touched, and occasionally the lings, they drag a mine after themselves. Oh, and 1 Mutalisk. Now 2 Mutalisks. Well, that's going to put the fear of God into Whopper, because there is no anti-air save for this bunker. And now more Mutalisks appear to be coming, so that's good. Let's see how good the micro is going to be, and if they are going to gather up before they strike. We've got 2. And there is the first Goliath, and more Goliaths and the Wraith are coming, so it seems that Whopper with the scans has gotten wind of the Mutas. And the Mutas and the Lings are just going to play hide and seek at the main hatchery, and if you are going to play 2 base Muta, yeah, you ought to do it a little bit faster than this. And now we've got Ling speed and Muta and 2 bases, and the worker count's still not very high. There is a macro hatch, that's good, there is money, so a little bit more income and less Lings and Mutas, because Muta Ling is an okay style to play, don't get me wrong, but I just don't feel like this is really going to be about Muta Ling. It's not really a refined build, or lots of turrets, even that's 9 Sunkens, although there hasn't been a single Terran unit right in the choke of the natural, no third, and the Mutas all run from the Wraiths, just no contest. Oh, they do have got Cloak, and they do Cloak. Is their Overlord speed? No, +1 weapons, so build order wise this isn't really coming off as well as it could have been. With only 3 Goliaths though, it should allow these Mutas to do pretty well. But you really ought to get Overlord speed for this. Now Whopper is, being an old bot, is pretty slow with a 3rd base, that must be said. And now 2 Mutas are coming in for the harass. They get shut down, and where is the rest of them? The rest of them is over here. So yes, that's a pretty strange build order, and that is just suicidal at this point. Here comes the push for Whopper, and now you have got, well, that's 15 Sunkens or something. That's quite a lot of Sunkens, but these tanks are just not going to care, and these Goliaths are not really going to care for the Mutas. Here come the Mutas though, they do pack a little bit of punch, and they could take out these Goliaths, but they just don't have the heart. That's pretty strange. So the enemy's at the gates, and what are the Mutas doing? They are flapping about. It must be the European Air Force. If there is such a thing, or it's rather the combined German, French, English, and, or what's next, Italian Air Force probably. And this combat behavior looks very Italian. French. And that's not talking about the Dutch, because the Dutch combat behavior is so bad. We were neutral in the First World War, and then the Second World War we sort of let ourselves get overrun in 3 days by the Germans, And after that we tried to bully the hell out of our previous colonies, and that didn't go very well either. So Dutch army, oh well, yeah, the mutas did clean it up eventually. How many mutas have we got? We got 24, that's a nice cloud, lots of damage potential. And that's a nice place for a hatchery. We've got a couple of mutas over here, but of course with a wraith. And the mutas just ignore the wraith, because why not? And although a couple of workers is dying, there is no third for Zerg. And this... oh, the spy got killed by the tanks on the outside. Oh, and what the... This combat micro by MadNiks Zerg is really suspect. And now we've got batter cruisers versus mutas and a lot of Goliaths on the ground, so you can see that Zerg's days are very, very much numbered. Lots of static defenses which are not going to cut it versus a large push deathball thing coming out of Whopper. And with 2 batter cruisers leading the charge, I don't really think that Zerg can... oh, there are no turrets here at all. Nothing. Wow. And the entire Terran army is coming home to defend this base, while all the workers have been killed over here. But the 3 batter cruisers meanwhile clean it up. Have they got any upgrades? No, they haven't got any upgrades. Oh, they've got Yamato. That's pretty decent. And Overlord killing is what they do best. And now what have you got? MadNiks falling apart. Whopper just going for the kill, and all these turrets, and well, really a good build order would help MadNiks out a lot, because leaving the combat micro aside, it's just no real build order this. And the batter cruisers, they are being very cautious even though the enemy's down on its knees. And now the mutas are all for it. They have got +2, that's good. But yeah, that's the GG. Oh, sorry, should have called it some time ago. And let's get into another upgraded bot. It's Halpan, and Halpan started off with Ironbot. Never really got off the ground, but Halpan is working hard on upgrading its bot. Well, updating, I don't know if it's really going to be upgrading, but lots of work usually equals results. And that is going to be Command Center, I think. Yes, that's very clever, but with 0 army supply, and that's a lot of technology and no army supply. 1 tank coming out. This probe is not going to get anything done, and McGraves is being pretty slow and meticulous about the goon thing. Has got range, probably. Yes, there you go. And a 3rd base. So, yes, this vulture is sort of out of the way. Will need observers, though, because there will be mines soon, too. And another probe is making its way out of the base, and as a Terran, I would very much wonder where that probe is going. And McGraves is now sort of contained, and the tanks are in a supreme position to camp this ramp. Unfortunately, there is nothing happening at this ramp, so that could be... they could have been employed elsewhere. Now McGraves with the 3rd, no cannons, so that's... the goons are making their way out. And you see, oh god, this is not good at all. McGraves dropping the ball, losing 3 probes for nothing. And transferring probes between A and B while you haven't got control of the ground enemy in the... between that, it's not good. And because the tanks are over here, the goons, they take out the bunker and something, and turrets or a depot or whatever. And Halpan is mining up the other bases, and McGraves is doing its thing. There is no great technology coming out of this, must be Templar, but if you've got these vultures, you could really say, well, I am going to need observers sooner or later, and... well, Halpan, what the hell are you doing? 2 base, and what's it building? It's building... tanks and vultures, that's good, but you've got to bring the tanks to the battlefield. And let's see how well this goon army is doing in cleaning up mines. Well, not awfully well if there are 10 tanks. Oh, that's about 7 tanks behind that. That's a lot of firepower in this stage of the game. And McGraves is now... trying to clean up a mine, but it's not really working as intended. So, yeah, meanwhile, lots of money in the bank. Building a lot of units, but not really happening. And now the Terran is coming for the natural choke. There is still no observer to be seen. And this base is still not taken. I would say this game is going a bit awry, but then again, the Terran is doing a nice contain, is taking a third base in the meanwhile. That's good. There is a dropship overhead for reasons. And the gateway units, they don't really dare attack the tanks at this. Oh, they do dare now. And the tanks all beat it. And this is going to be a massacre because there are just way too many mines. Oh, and the goons, they do a pretty decent job. And oh, these tanks. Such a lot of firepower. And this is just going completely wrong. McGraves severely hung up on that. No cannons here, so vultures may run in and out at any time. Meanwhile, Halpan taking a third base. Main is not even completely mined out. And although McGrave has got a large army count, almost double, it's just not getting anything done versus this mass of tanks and vultures and mines. And you can see at any engagement that McGrave is paying a heavy price of waiting in and out of tank fire. Some air units might be nice, observers might be nice. So many things might be nice to have at this point, and now the container is complete. And with only 5 tanks. Yeah, well, 5, 6, 7 tanks are completely shutting down McGrave at this point. This is still not happening. And there is still no superior technology in sight, so I'm going to speed it up just a little notch. The tanks are just going to encroach upon the territory of Protoss and going to shut it down. There are High Templar, but they can't really get into range, and some nice storms are being cast, but generally speaking, you need to lead the charge with Zealots and then move your Templar and Goons after that, and that's just not happening. Halpan, with a shaky start and bad tank placement, is going for the Great Contain and sort of folds up Grave. That was the main. Here is still nothing, and this is still not happening. Oh, there is a... oh no, that's a Terran base. So, yeah, that's going to be the GG. Grave stuck on Gateway Tech versus a mech army. That's generally not the best idea. And there goes the Protoss base. That's going to be the GG. Next game up. That was a TVP. Have we got another one? No, let's do a PvP, because there was also an upgrade of TSMU Protoss. And let's see if we can find out what it is. The adversary is the Protoss mastermind, Cutedus. And Cutedus with the ingloriously good Goon Micro. It doesn't really use many other units because it doesn't need to. It can get so much done with just Goons. TSMU going for a very safe Forge without the fast expand, and behind the Forge is... okay, so Forge sort of fast expand with a lot of cannons and probably a kind of Goon thing. Oh, and this looks like Dark Templar stuff coming up. And that's interesting because Cutedus is not really known for its fast technological prowess. Oh, and these bridges, and with these cannons up and running, I think that TSMU might do okay with just a handful of cannons at this stage. The Templar Archive is there. There is only one gateway, so that's going to be an issue. And you see immediately, if the Dark Templar, as the Dark Templar is spotted, the entire army is just moving back to base. And what countermeasures are being taken? I think this is going to be a rover base, so Cutedus does know... oh, a Forge. Good as well. And here comes the first Dark Templar, and there comes the second one. And still TSMU on one gateway. Oh, 2 more are coming. And this probe is doing the rounds, going to make something. And the Dark Templar just stopped. There is a pair of cannons in the main. And it's a 2 versus 1 base. TSMU got the worker lead, has got no army at all. Cutedus might just get the +1 if you're going to invest that heavily into Goons. They just get the +2 for free, basically. and instead it's just going for more and more goons. TCMU could do well with an expansion of its own. Dark Templar stuck, a goon is coming out. We've now got 3 Dark Templar and no Robo Bay inside. Lots of gas in the bank for Cutedus, could just make it. TCMU could take another expansion, not happening. Is going for more tech, more gateways, that's good. And for a 3rd base. So, although the army size of TCMU is just abysmal at this point, if this is not going to be a turret, I can't see Cutedus getting out of the base anytime soon. All the goons are parked and stuck and whatever, and no, that's going to be another pylon. So the contain is real. The contain is very real, and I don't think that Cutedus has got very much ways of breaking out of that. TCMU meanwhile is just making all kinds of tech. Storm is prepping lots of upgrades, and although it has got the map and a lot of probes, the army size is about not even half of that of Cutedus. So Cutedus could make things work, though without detection it would be a bit of a dangerous proposition to move across the map with 4 Dark Templar out. Have we got more than those? No, there are about 4. So TCMU not investing too heavily in Dark Templar. Going for a 4th base, I think that's a good decision. 1 cannon at an expansion. For this stage of the game, it's okay. If the enemy's got map control, you need 2 or 3, or perhaps a mobile reaction force, and that I think TCMU has. Meanwhile, Cutedus is going to make goons, pylons, and more probes. That's the strange part of it. It's got 29 probes already. It can't move out of the base. Nice concave by TCMU. Upgrade-wise, TCMU is getting ahead. It's got the +1, +2's prepping, +1 armor done as well, and the army size is still, it's exceeding half of that of Cutedus now, so that's okay. Storm is done. We've got 2 Templar, but nothing spectacular is happening from TCMU either, so there is no glorious tech. We've got 2 observers. They are breakdancing all over the place. Oh, and here comes the Storm. And the Dark Templars are moving in, and the High Templar as well. Oh, that's a very cruel Storm, but then it dies, and that doesn't really work. So now Cutedus has got the army lead, but there are 4 Dark Templar, which are doing all the damage for TCMU. And Cutedus just can't get out. It hasn't got the detection. It's got these 2 cannons, and 100 army supply, and that's about it. Now the observer finds the base and sees what's happening. So TCMU is building. Oh, it's got a Reaver somewhere, and it must be crawling at a snail's pace across the map. And now we've got TCMU in the army lead. It's going to press the issue a little bit, and all the Dark Templar retreat while. Yeah, Suicide High Templar. Not going to work. Oh, there is another one. These goons must think it's pretty funny. Oh, and finally some goons do take damage and die, but that's not too many. TCMU just going to walk across the ramp into this huge concave, the Dark Templar in the rear for some reason. And you can see Cutedus doing quite alright in this fight, but it's just the Dark Templar which are doing way too much damage. And without a single observer, I don't really think that is going to work. You can see the number of goons being souped up on the ramp, and Cutedus' army supply is plummeting. That is going to be... It's not going to be a Robo Bay. It's going to be a Robo Bay, and the Dark Templar, they now suicide themselves while killing this pylon. And Cutedus completely dropping the ball, only building a Robo Bay while the army supply is reduced to 0. Nice Storm on the pylon, on the probes, but... okay, well, this is TCMU's max, Cutedus is dead. GG, let's hop into the next game and let's see where the development of TCMU Protoss is going. So, let's do a ZVZ now, because Steamhammer is doing pretty well in its own right. Let's look at the ELO. So you've got Cutedus, Seder, and Killerbot, and Microwave is doing okay. Recent update. So, oh god, not again. It's doing quite well. And let's see if it's going to play a good game. This game. So, there we go. It used to be pretty slow with all the drones and the macro, relying on micro and build orders, but has recently been macroing a little bit better. in-base hatch. That must be some kind of weird play, some kind of a Zergling push kind of thing. And Killerbot is going for its staple link speed with +1. There is the +1, and link speed will be started as... Oh, and that's just a very costly scout at this point for Steamhammer. Has got a worker lead, but might lose a worker on a scouting mission, and that's not generally the best idea. Meanwhile, oh, the Sunken is up, and Killerbot's Zerglings, they don't really know what to do, loses 3 of them for nothing. And now Steamhammer is out on the map, no upgrades for the links at all, but has got 2 more workers. No, they're all here, and is going for a lair. So that's, I think, good. And please remember last year, where Killerbot had this beautiful, beautiful Zerg versus Zerg run in the final, only to fall 4 games to 3 versus Cherry Pie in that same final, in the ultimate final game. And now I think that Steamhammer is doing okay. Killer going for the expansion. I think that's a good idea. Has got only 8 workers. Oh, that's not a lot of workers. And the Spires build right plumb into range of this Overlord, so it doesn't really matter where it is. In cover of this Sunken, that's good. The Lynx could whip around and try to harass the drones from the rear. It's not really working, and Killerbot is trying to do a lot of 7 workers at this point. And if it can keep the contain going, it should be okay. Then build a fat round of drones after the expansion is up and running. And then get out an Evo chamber as quickly as Zergly possible. Speed now done for Steamhammer as well. And Killer, I don't know, this Zerg versus Zerg build is in the propinquity of being shut down very hard because there are no mutas coming. Oh, there is one. So, yes. Finally, a single muta is coming. That's a little bit late. And now Killerbot can get the worker count up, has got the expansion, and will have a lot of link producing capabilities. There is an Evo chamber for the +1 already, so it could be okay with just 1 spore over here and 1 over there. Could work. Meanwhile, the Lings are in a bit of a problematic situation because with 3 mutas overhead, 4 now, you are going to need a hell of a lot of Lings to get anything done. And you can see Steamhammer running away with this game. Now, Killer just persisting in making Zerglings, nothing but Zerglings. And at this point, I cannot help but feel that is a misappreciation of the state of the game. Right now, Steamhammer has got 5 mutas, is taking the expansion, has got a 3 worker lead. And that's just rubbish because there are so many drones, and with only, if you just sneak in a drone occasionally and build a spore somewhere, or not, you could do better. And Killerbot is really losing the plot, all the workers are dying, and Microwave, although it doesn't really play a stellar game and hasn't been... Oh yes, that's a nice grab on the natural expansion, but the fact remains that you've got only 1 worker left and it is parked over here, so it's not doing you any good. So now the army supply of Killerbot is dwindling, 3.5, 3 natural being rebuilt by Steamhammer. Worker count increased a little bit, Overlord spinning right here and all the buildings killed, and that is the game. Okay, so a bit of a letdown, and we've got 2 more games. Yes, do this one first. So it's the Cutedus versus Banana Brain. Banana Brain pushed an update recently as well, and it's been a monster already, so let's see what it's going to do. The Cutedus, as the number 1, is in a prime position for aggressive counter measures, so let's see how that's going to go. The Cutedus going for, whoa, that's beautifully done, finishing right at the same time. Only an AI could do that, and we are bound to get a cannon as well, probably. But the Cutedus going... Oh, there is a little bit of a hiatus in worker production. And here comes the cannon, so should be pretty safe for all kinds of Dark Templar shenanigans. And I think that's a good stance to take, because as the number 1, you are the prime subject for a lot of cheesy shenanigans. Scouting Pro being killed, Natural being taken. So the Cutedus setting up shop for a transition from the early game into the mid game, and Banana Brain has got a handful of goons. I assume both players have got range. No, Cutedus is really rather late, is really going very safe and has sort of... I don't know if a goon, well, should be, because the walling algorithm of Cutedus is pretty good. Should be possible, yes, for a goon to move out of there. And here comes Cutedus, and the question is, will Banana Brain be ready for that? Banana Brain they've got the same tech, they've got exactly the same army composition. And now it will all come down to micro, and we all know how good Cutedus's goon micro actually is. So Banana Brain with the worker lead, with the army lead, and Cutedus, for all intents and purposes, must be assumed to have the micro advantage, unless this battle is going to show us otherwise. 2 cannons at the natural for Banana Brain, and now the goons are coming in. They dish out a little bit of damage, they take a lot of damage, and Banana Brain is now leading the charge with 2 goons killed. Cutedus on the back foot has got a production disadvantage because it just put up third. Oh, and Banana Brain is going for a very aggressive Templar strategy and is going to lead the charge of the gateway units, and this very defensive setup might cost Cutedus the game because Banana Brain has now got the army advantage. Hasn't got a third though. So if, oh dear, Banana Brain leading the retreat, losing a handful of units, and here this might already be the critical mass of goons. No, I think at the bridges Banana Brain can hold with superior army size. The Zealots, they impede the goons in their glorious micro, and now with Conclave going, Banana Brain is about to take the bridge and bring the battle with an observer on top to Cutedus' territory once again. Cutedus is sort of scrambling to get anything going, but now it's just pure goon versus pure goon, and Cutedus is so deadly with that. And all the while this third on the minimap is building, and while that is building, it will... oh, completely missed that. Banana Brain's already got it up and running. Both players got the third up and running, and now Banana Brain is losing units. Cutedus is going to go for it. 4th base now up and running by Banana Brain, and this Reaver tech is not paying off. If, oh well, there's finally the first Reaver, but that's a long time coming, and that is this huge investment which you are not going to recuperate if you're not going to build any Reavers. But now it's 13 versus 24 army supply, and I think that Cutedus is coming in to do some killing. Taking that base. That's an OBS right over here. So Banana Brain seeing everything, and it's also seeing the destruction of its own natural, so that's very unfortunate. Will the Reaver be in time to save the day? Well, probably, but it needs to crawl a long, long way. And the natural's already gutted, so that's not good at all. But Banana Brain is not out of this yet. Has got some gates coming, and the Reaver really ought to start blasting. Killing one goon, getting stuck. And the Cutedus is exploding on the map. Taking all bases. It's in the main. It's being expelled from the main. But that's mainly because all the drones from here, the probes from there have been transferred. And this base is not up and running. So income situation for Banana Brain is dire. And although the Reaver's doing good, these Zealots should have waited for the Reaver a little bit more. The Reaver just can't really micro all that well in these confined spaces. There are 2 Reavers now, but they should fight a little bit more aggressively and not hug the main nexus, while Cutedus is completely dismantling the third. This base is up and running, but it's sort of under attack. All the probes are being pulled, and are going to run straight into this hornet's nest of goons. And I must say that Cutedus, once it gets its goon show going, is going to be pretty deadly. Now some rearguard action with the Reavers in the main, but the goons are just all over it, and although a fair number of them die, I think this is the end of it, and Cutedus is just going to steamroll Banana Brain. That's very well done. There are a lot of observers right all over the map, but Cutedus is just very, very, very proficient at the most important game within the game, and that's killing. Right now we've got 5 observers and 1 zealot versus almost 100 army supply, and that is that, as they say. So next game up, and that's the last game of today, because TCMU Zerg has gotten an upgrade as well, and Seder hasn't, but Seder is just this monster. And I do about, well, that's, I don't know how long ago it was, a long time ago. TCMU Zerg hit the scene and swept everything before it. Ice Labs, Crazier, just every Terran, every Protoss, every Zerg. It was a monster. It was a macro revolution, and it was very deadly and harassy. And it was really brutal to watch. So, with Cherry Pie winning the tournament last year, which of course the Cherry Pie team did have as its members Dan Gant, which won this year's tournament, and TCMU, who's just a genius when it comes to brutal II. I thought, well, upgrade of TCMU Zerg, that's got to be pretty interesting, and TCMU going for 3 hatches before the pool and 1 hatch at the other end of the map. So we've got an SCV scouting out what's going to happen, and TCMU going for 8 workers. That's not a lot, but I think there will be more. Oh, that's the strangest sunken placement I've seen. Now 7 workers, lots of Zerglings, and they are going to flap about a bit. But they are going to hit the enemy, and that enemy is a vulture, so that will be pretty ugly. But there are 2 sunkens which might sort of not really protect these workers unless they are mining over here. But they don't really, the vulture doesn't really dare attack. And TCMU is now upping the worker count. Seder has started the naturals, nearly done. Here comes the worker transfer. Seder hasn't got the greatest army in the world either. And now the Zergling just can't get in. TCMU going for the lair. And these Zerglings versus well microed vultures, as these vultures are just not going to cut it. So TCMU, what are you going to do? It's going to be very grateful for the hidden expansion, which is not hidden because if you've got a container on and there are coming vultures in from the rear, you sort of got to know what's going on, and all these Zerglings are dying by the bucket loads to these vultures. Meanwhile, Seder happily macroing, building a lot of SCVs, and TCMU, well, I don't know, hasn't got the greatest work count, and is losing too many Zerglings for some reason. It thinks that it can fight off the vultures with Zerglings eventually, and is building more. Meanwhile, the scouting SCV is still there and scouts the Spire, of course. There are mutas coming, and perhaps with Killerbot revamping itself from a ZVZ player to the best muta player in the world, is going for lots of mutas. And perhaps, I was trying to say that TCMU perhaps is going for a lot of mutas as well. Worker count is okay for a Zerg at 3 bases. Might be okay. And there are a couple of mutas stationed all across the map. And Seder has got to feel worried right now, because TCMU could be doing anything. Could be taking more bases, could be preparing a monster drop, or just a heavy muta strike. And if you haven't got map control as a Terran, it's going to be very, very, very hard to play. TCMU, what are you doing? Building workers and mutas, or 1 worker and a couple of mutas, but Seder now out on the map with 5, 6, 7 mutas already, Goliaths, and that's going to be a bit of an issue for TCMU. +1 air armor is upgrading, and TCMU looks like it's going to play a harassment style with lots of units spread out all over the map, and not this compact Zerg versus Zerg muta style or Zerg versus Terran muta style that Killerbot was playing. Map control in the hands of TCMU for the time being. Has got a bit of an army, has got 10, 14 mutas, so in a tight formation that might really do wonders for any Zerg. And I think that if there is one player who is going to make the greatest, oh that's silly, is going to make the greatest, oh that drone nap, the vulture kill, the greatest Zerg versus Zerg micro, well, of course, right now it's Killerbot, but TCMU could be a prime candidate for that as well. It's such an interesting time to be watching, and now TCMU is going to swarm. Oh, the dropship is found. The mutas shut it down, not really in time though. The work count for TCMU is suffering a little bit, or very much, really. the mutas are just too slow. And is there going to be a hard Goliath switch, because there is no anti-air in the air, so Guardian switch, I mean. Guardians versus thingies, glides might be worth it. TCMU getting stuck on the power generator, that's atypical, I'd say. But more bases, more drones, and of course taking on this fortification with a lot of turrets and glides head on is generally not the best idea. Say they're just blanketing the map with and here you go. So TCMU is going to do this concave thing with hit and run instead of making small muta groups which could pick off glides in one shot. If you had 2 or 3 of these groups microed individually, which I think TCMU could do instead of just wasting a lot of overlords trying to figure out what's going on. You know what's going on, and you're going to need lots more mutas to do this this contain and concave and then assault style. So TCMU now supply blocked and is going to be supply blocked even worse. But here come the mutas. There are a lot of mutas, and the glides will have to come back to help and defend. Vultures out on map, no turrets in sight, so that's complete rubbish. The Lings are even getting pulled back. That's not good at all. There is an Overlord seeing the dropship, and Seder just appears to be on top of the game. The scouting SUV is still there. That's at this stage of the game in 2019, that's just negligence. And now it kills itself on the Sunkens. And TCMU has got a lot of mutas, but they are just not as powerful compared to the number of glides there is. And every run they suffer horrible losses. Vultures are over the map, no Sunken in sight, and TCMU Zerg vs Terran is looking a little bit outdated, and that's strange to say. So many drones are dying, and Seder is just going for this drive of neck with tanks and the Goliath support. The upgrades are in Terran's favor as well. TCMU is doing what it can, but the harassment style versus the top players has sort of hit its limit. You can't. The Vulture harass isn't as important anymore as it was in Iron's days. The Zerg harass isn't as good anymore as it was in TCMU Zerg's prime. You really need to take on these death balls of Terrans, and oh, this is going to add insult to injury. 4 Vultures going to kill a lot of workers. TCMU worker count is plummeting, and there is just nothing to stop Seder from doing what it wants and to kill TCMU. So, well, I'd say Seder could do with a good upgrade versus all kinds of cheese and harass, but meanwhile it's still a force of its own. And let's not forget that while the Cutedus is number 1, Seder is the number 2 with a large margin towards number 3, Purple Wave, and then there is basically the rest. But after Ironbot there is almost a 100-point drop again, so this top 4 is incredibly powerful, even compared to the likes of Crazier, Protoss, Killabot, Banana Brain, Halpan, Microwave, and it will take some doing to get them down. So TCMU, good to see updates, but they are going to have to be a little bit more powerful to stop the top 5 and really bring TCMU back to the top of the ladder. Could be with the clustered micro harass. That's absolutely a powerful weapon in the Zerg's army. But things like adding a couple of Sunkens to prevent this kind of thing, just 2 Vultures decimating your entire worker line, that's not workable anymore. So congratulations to Seder, and well, thank you everyone who has coded a great bot. And oh, that's GG. Thank you all for watching, and all of you who have recommended me games, please keep sending me everything you think is interesting. You can find my email address up here. For now, I say thank you for watching. I hope to see you again next week. Goodbye.